Welcome back to the Rogue Wave podcast. We talk comics, movies, TV, and pop culture, and the rogues that create them every Wednesday night, 8 p.m. Eastern on the Rogue Matter Podcast Network. Download us anywhere podcasts can be found. Check us out on this live stream every Wednesday night on Facebook. All right. Another trailer that dropped, and it dropped right before our show last week when we had everything planned out, so we didn't make room for it, is the Dune trailer. I'm going to defer to you on this one because I know nothing about the source material, but everyone seems to be pretty excited about it. What did you make of the trailer in relation to your expectations based on the source material?
I didn't have any expectations because Dune is a very much contested, ground of adaptation. You know, it's just a minefield.
Yeah.
I thought what I saw was really strange because it instantly looked epic, but then it also looked very sterile.
Yeah.
So it's just weird. I'm sure what we saw is just the tip of the iceberg. I know for a fact no one's going to be cutting corners on the Dune franchise, especially if they're trying to turn it into like a Lord of the Rings type, science fiction epic. Villeneuve is a fantastic director, and I speak from personal opinion of my opinion of his previous movies, not just the party line that's going around, but sure. I mean he's a well-rounded, well-respected director whose work I genuinely like. So I'm very much, and I love the book Dune. It's ridiculous how much I love the book Dune. So I'm optimistic about it, but at the same time, and I won't call it cautiously optimistic, I'm optimistic about it, and I am turning off my expectations.
It's probably a smart move.
It's just because, and the other thing is, look, and here's a craziness. I really like the David Lynch version, but I like it for its flaws just as much as I like it for its ambition. You're never going to visually achieve something like the David Lynch version of Dune. Yeah. You're just never going to get it back. The level of craftsmanship and artistry that went into every scene of that film is just it's unsurpassed. And now I think it's very smart for Villeneuve to not try to do that and to concentrate maybe on trying to translate the story into something that could be narrated visually, which is extremely hard to do. And there's been two people who made a try at it before him. So it, like I said, is very contested ground. And I'm looking forward to it just because I love the adaptation of the stories. I want a good adaptation of the book. But then again, I love the story. I love the component parts of the book so much that I don't even mind seeing it in a kind of broken way. So I mean, I'm going in a controlled state.
Okay.
What I'll say.
Let me ask you another question too, and then I'll give you my take on the trailer itself, just from a complete outsider's perspective. How dense a story, or dense is the wrong word because that connotates negative. How deep a story is dense
is correct.
Dense is good. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I don't want to. Dense can be construed as a negative. I don't want to construe it as a negative. I want to construe it as like how deep. Like
I you know what I would take issue with that. I don't agree. I think dense can be a positive. I think pop culturally, maybe dense.
People
maybe
tend to
nobody
use that word in a negative way, and that's not. What
I don't think. If someone said something is dense,
I just updated my Twitter bio. I removed dense from my Twitter bio.
You
I
didn't
want to piss
I will add dense 6 or 7 more times on my Twitter bio because I actually think it's. I don't think it's a negative, but yeah, dense is probably the proper way to describe the book of Dune or the franchise in and of itself.
Right.
The newer Dune books are not dense, which is pretty much all I'll lay down on that. But but the original 6 books are pretty. They're dense, and the last 3 books of the 6 are out there, dense and out there. So. I mean,
so that's my question, right? Is how much can a movie? Because what you can do within the confines of a novel or a graphic novel that you can't do in a movie and it makes any sense, go R.E. Watchmen, is a good example of this. I just wonder how much they're going to be able to bring to life. So if they can bring to life the spirit of the novels in a way that is not just this action movie, because that's what I got from the trailer. It was really funny. I got certain points in the trailer where I'm like, oh, this is going to be the kind of like a deep, a deep film, where the woman's got, the thing to his neck and the little needle to his neck. And she kind of says like, oh, what's that?
Nothing.
No, that's fine. I'm please say the character name. I don't know the character. I don't know any of
the thing to his neck is called a Gom Jabbar.
There you go. Awesome. See, this is why you're my co-host. It's great. And she's like, oh, a rat will gnaw off its arm or gnaw off its leg to escape, right? Like, what would you do? And it's like, okay, so this is gonna be really deep and intense. And then meanwhile, there was a lot of let's fight, kind of thing. And I'm like, oh, it's straddling this action movie. It just brought like all these like.
Well, the problem is the book is not an action book,
right?
And so that's the thing, and that's the problem with a lot of science fiction translations or adaptations.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of classic science fiction is cerebral.
Right.
It's what if this happened, and what if you were here and you found yourself there, or what if you were, you were the messiah of a people and you didn't know anything about it, and then you just discovered there's a lot of it's a lot of positing, it's a lot of questions, and our high art medium of movies is very famously non-questioning. It doesn't question. It doesn't ask anything. It just like, is there explosion here? Is there something we can blow up because we need to blow something up? We're losing the audience.
Yeah.
So Dune. There are in Dune itself perhaps 2 battles in all of Dune.
Okay.
And they're not Star Wars battles. They're not. They're not even Lord of the Rings types battles.
Right. The trailer kind of looked a little. I don't want to say Matrixy. It's not. I'll just compare everything with Matrix hand-to-hand stuff. No. I mean, I know it's not. Matrix is always the go-to when there's any kind of like hand-to-hand combat scenes in my head. Like that's my go-to. Like, oh, I see. It's kind of trying to be very Matrixy, but it's not. It's not the right word for it. I acknowledge that. As soon as I said it.
Yes, I agree.
But it
that is not the right word for it.
It seemed to have these action movie tropes, and in my world I'm sitting there going, I feel like Dune is not that. Like, you use the word cerebral, that's actually a better word than dense, so I'm going to add cerebral to my Twitter bio.
Well, wait, but you said dense is bad, so is cerebral bad?
No, cerebral's not bad. That is always, when you say cerebral, that is a very positive light on it. And
just as long as we're not talking about Cerebro, because he's an asshole.
So I felt like conflicted watching this trailer, because I know that there is a lot of cerebral moments and cerebralness. I'm going to just go with the synonyms of cerebral to the book, that trying to bring that out, and then to kind of complement the average moviegoer. There is a lot of just, okay, there's just going to be some action sequences, and I felt like it was out of place. I felt like it was out of place.
What the movie really has to establish very quickly is is the characters. Like, you got to be into Paul, you got to be into Leto, you got to be into Jessica, you got to be into all these characters, and then it just like Game of Thrones, because there's not a lot of stuff that happens in Game of Thrones, especially the first 3 seasons, and that's the thing.
You have one big battle, the Battle of Blackwater, in season 2.
Yes. And that's it. And that's pretty much it. I mean, there are battles. There are battles in the book, but the battles are done very like, oh, we're about to go into battle, and then seconds later, we're done with that battle. And there's bodies all over the place. So you do not have to. Game of Thrones has proven for at least 6 of the 7 of the 8 years he was on. It is proven you do not have to do gigantic spectacle to capture people's imaginations. It was a science fiction, not really. So Game of Thrones is not science fiction, fantasy, but it was a high fantasy storyline in a modern world. So, and not everybody in the world that we live in is a high fantasy fanatic. They don't read high fantasy. So the fact that you were able to put people in doublets and tights and stuff like that, and then still have the average schmo come back week after week to see what's going on, is because of these characters.
Right.
So if you have, if Villeneuve is able to make you interested in the journey of Paul Atreides, you'll be fine. It will work. If he can't, or if he gets caught up too much in the spectacle of Dune, or if he gets overwhelmed by the density of Dune and starts focusing on the wrong things, then he's going to lose everybody. So it's just a test of balance. But I mean, there's enough there. There's plenty in Dune. You know, I mean, Dune's basically a precursor to Game of Thrones. And you know what? Game of Thrones kind of mirrors Dune in a lot of ways. If you trade the Starks for the Atreides, they have very much the same journey.
Yeah.
No, you're not listening.
No, I am actually. I'm trying to figure out how you pronounce Villeneuve. I thought it was Villeneuve.
It's not. It's Villeneuve.
Villeneuve, really?
Yeah.
No, it is. It comes down to the character. I feel like today we have short attention span directors, right? That just
you're proving you got a short attention span while I'm talking.
I was multitasking, my man. I heard you.
Weren't.
I heard you. You got to get behind the characters. You proved with the Starks. See?
No. What did I say about the Starks? What did I say about Dune and Game of Thrones? What did I just say?
You got to get it. You have you Game of Thrones.
What did I just say about them?
Game of Thrones proved.
I said no. I just said that it mirrors Dune.
Yes.
It's very much the same. It's almost the same story, Game of Thrones and Dune.
Well, it predated it, as you said.
But I'm saying Game of Thrones mirrors Dune.
Yes.
How?
I heard you.
No, you didn't. You didn't listen.
High fantasy.
Oh my God! All right, you're a moron. All right, we're done.
I'm gonna say.
I said my piece.
And this is for all the Dune fans out here because I genuinely believe this.
Wasn't listening because you wanted to figure out how to pronounce Villeneuve. Okay.
I think trailer trash. I think based off that trailer, I think this movie is not going to perform to both the fan expectation and the box office expectation. Are you trailer truth or trailer trash? What do you think?
You know what? Every week we do this. I don't care what anybody else thinks. Well, what is? Oh, what would be the truth?
What you think? They all
no. What would be the truth? And what would be? What exactly would be the truth and what would be the trash?
I just said.
No.
Fan expectation.
Give me the parameters. Well, yeah, but on the scale.
What do you mean on the scale? Is it going to meet?
What is the truth and what is the trash?
I'm going to tell you. I'm giving you the.
Yeah, but I mean, you're repeating yourself.
Yes. Box office, is it going to do well based off this trailer? Do you think it's going to meet the box office expectation based off this trailer? And do you think it's going to meet the fan expectation based off this trailer? Because it could do both, right? It could fail at the box office, but all the fans could love it.
It will not reach fan expectation because everybody is an opinionated jerk, including myself. And they're going to have things that they want and need that they're not going to get because they expect too much of the film medium. That's A. B, will it box office? It will all depend on exactly how and when and where it is released. If it's released at a time where everybody's comfortable going back to the movies again, I think it can very well be one of the first tent poles of the new post-COVID
based
era.
Off this trailer, based off what you've seen.
Sure, based off what I know about the franchise. What I know about the director, what I know about the story, and what I've seen, yeah, it's huge. It's gonna be huge.
All right.
But the problem is, it's the same as the people who hate Lord of the Rings.
Mm-hmm.
You know, as those are multi-billion-dollar. That's a multi-billion-dollar franchise, and people hate it because it doesn't adhere to the books enough, or it strayed from the books too far. Mm-hmm. Or certain things from the books weren't included.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's anyone's guess as to how people are going to react to the science fiction Lord of the Rings, which is often compared to Lord of the Rings as in for science fiction. So it is it's a very much loved and beheld book, but it's also a controversial book. There are a lot of people who just don't like it. There's a lot of people who just cannot get into it.
Yeah.
It is written. Just to get really nerdy, it's written in omniscient. So most people don't write in third person omniscient anymore. So and there's a lot of thinking in the book. Most people think through the entire book. There's not a lot of action.
Spelling disaster for this film, I'm telling you.
Nah, not necessarily. Like everything in our lives, it all depends on how it is delivered and when it is delivered. That's
Okay.
all.
All right. I love it. What do you guys think? Chime in on the Facebook feed. Hit us up in the comments. We will answer you throughout the week. And I'm putting my 10 pole in the ground. It's gonna be some trailer trash. All right. When we come back, Tenet. Did it live up to the hype? Did you even get to see it yet? We did. We'll talk to you next.